Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Marine. Thanks for bearing with us through our weather delays, but the good news is Mother Nature has cooperated, and we are close to beginning the third edition of the Indy Autonomous Challenge. Representing Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the University of Pittsburgh, Rochester Institute of Technology, and the University of Waterloo in Canada, please welcome MIT-PITT-RW. If you were with us for the competition in conjunction with CES at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway back in January, it's a similar format that we're going to see. There were 2 rounds of qualifying earlier in the week, which whittled the field down from 8 to 6 teams and also helped to set the bracket. Today, we'll see a single elimination tournament-style passing competition. You look here at the bracket, we'll see Keist and AI Racing Tech up first. That's seeds 4 and 5. Then the 3rd and 6th seeds, MIT-PITT-RW and TII Euro Racing in the second of the quarterfinal matchups. Based on qualifying, Team Autonomous Motorsport and Polymove, they have buys to the semifinals. They await the winners of these quarterfinal matchups. And then the winners from the semifinals, of course, advance to meet one another in the finals. Go on to the second matchup then of the quarterfinal round, which pits MIT-PITT-RW against TII Euro Racing. MIT-PITT-RW, another one, Rob, that has been certainly on the right trajectory. They're getting stronger and stronger, qualifying as the 3 seed. Very impressive.
A bit nervous, going in and looking at the cool conditions, and of course even maybe a little bit of dampness on the track.
Both cars rolling and on track, so now it's about getting into position to begin the passing competition. Once again, if you're just joining us, the way this will work, when the cars are in the proper alignment, the first round, if you will, of this matchup in the quarterfinals will be run at 80 miles per hour. So the defending car can run any lane it wants, but it must maintain right around 80 miles per hour in doing it. If the cars are in proper alignment and they get the virtual green flag, then the attacking car, the trailing car, must complete a pass within 2 laps. Now, the passing zone begins in approximately turns 3 and 4 and must be completed by the time the cars get back there in 2 laps' time. If successful, the 2 will swap positions and the attacker becomes the defender and vice versa. The new attacker will then try and repeat that feat. If they are successful, then we move up to the next speed threshold, and we just repeat this process until we have a winner between the 2.
Leave you to higher speed. You can see the MIT-PITT-RW car stopped on the track. That's actually intentional. They're trying to get the other cars to catch up behind them. That's pretty normal when you see that. Race control commands that to happen.
Let's talk about these 2 teams for MIT-PITT-RW. This is, as I mentioned, the MIT, University of Pittsburgh, Rochester Institute of Technology, and the University of Waterloo in Canada that are collaborating on this with MIT and University of Pittsburgh, I think, really taking the lead within this operation. And they've done a great job of pushing this program forward since we saw them last out in Las Vegas. And we're about to see now in our first round who has the advantage here in this second quarterfinal matchup.
They're coming up to around 80 miles an hour here, so hopefully we'll see the Euro Racing team catch up here. And they'll really kind of get going when you can get the other car within about 6 or so car lengths of it. And when that's achieved, this catch-up process, then the actual round will begin. But they're up there, MIT-PITT-RW right now running 92 or so miles an hour to try to catch up to TII Euro Racing running at 80 miles an hour. So hopefully we can get these 2 to connect, and then they start, as Ryan mentioned earlier, start kind of swapping each time there's a pass made. And to make a pass, you have to, they say they kind of start the round about 6 car lengths apart, right? So when the 2 cars get about 6 car lengths apart, once you get within 2 car lengths, so as a trailing car is starting to make the pass and they get within 2 car lengths, that's when you sort of have to lock your line in. You have to say, okay, I've committed to being right here, and I have to hold my line if I'm the front car. I can't move and swerve and block or anything like that. It'll be dangerous, obviously, for both cars, and so you don't want that to happen. So they get within 2 car lengths, they lock. You're trying not to ever get within more than 2 car lengths of the other vehicle, because that's part of the safety as we go through. And so even, and then as you go around from side to side, you want to leave about a car width from side to side around the other vehicle, so we don't have contact here, because it would take both cars out pretty quickly.
Looking at telemetry And what we're seeing is that MIT-PITT-RW, they're going around the track right around 94 miles per hour right now. Compare that to TII Euro Racing, which is right around 62 miles per hour. So about a 30 mile per hour delta that will help them close up that gap. This is the backstretch here at Texas Motor Speedway. This is the TII Euro Racing car that's waiting for the MIT-PITT-RW car to catch up, get in position, and then we can begin the passing competition. And that's the difference between the two. That's the gap that needs to be overcome. And
together, you know, and they get what they call a waving green flag to get the actual sort of passing event started. And that happens, that kind of the start zone of the passes is really, there's a tunnel in turn 3 under the track, and that's kind of the start of the passing zone, and sort of the start of the lap that they're using. The cars are about ready to go over right now. And that's, so you probably see, it looks like next time around that they'll actually see them start actually doing that.
We're told that the waving green has been given. So TII Euro Racing is the defending car out in front, running a steady 80 miles per hour. Now, MIT-PITT-RW, their car is going to need to complete the pass, and already a little bit of contact there between the two, and that has caused MIT-PITT-RW to slow. I imagine that is part of the safety element that's built into the code.
They're going to be contact. They maybe even had been a little bit of contact there, and they were trying to make that pass on the front straightaway, which is actually, you know, a lot harder to do. You can see they just didn't quite follow the right line.
And the word from race control is, because there was contact, it was initiated by the MIT-PITT-RW car, they are disqualified, and that means that the 6th seed TII Euro Racing will move on to the semifinal.
I'm sure they'll be a little bit disappointed in themselves, but this, again, it's a really difficult thing to try to do. You know, one kind of interesting things about the LiDARs themselves, you know, they scan with lasers and little points, and these cars themselves are quite small. When you stand up next to them, they're about knee-high on knee, and so you don't really get very many laser points on the back of a car at a pretty far distance, and so while the LiDAR can actually see it, the cars are actually so small that it's kind of difficult to see. In this case, though, I think they were close enough, they should have seen it, just something happened with their algorithm.
Well, something that's been fascinating to me, talking to the different teams, is how they elect to use the various sensors on the cars. You mentioned the cameras, the radar, the LiDAR. You can use any of them, all of them, one of them, two of them. It's really up to the teams. Most of them will choose to use them all in some capacity, but then getting to blend all that information together, that's a real undertaking.
Yeah, interesting. Everybody had a little bit different plan. Some teams maybe only use the cameras for locally, very close to the other vehicle. But you have to, whatever the strategy is, you have to take all that information and then ultimately fuse it all together, we say, or basically, you know, as we would do as humans, you kind of take everything in that you can, make a decision on what you have there. And the challenge is that there's variability in all of those measurements.